Boys and girls, it's time to get into the Resistance. Fall of Man. That's right, comrade. Time to join the Resistance, my brother.
I would remove my left tit to never hear that joke again.
Cool. We're gonna miss some important story beats right here. Do you not see Sergeant Nathan Hale going through PTSD from his alien aids?
I couldn't tell because the stupid screen wouldn't stop shuddering.
Yeah, about that. That's kind of a PlayStation problem because PlayStation refuses to remaster any of their older games. They just seem to remaster only the PlayStation 4 games consistently.
You're telling me I had to stream this? No wonder Xbox is better.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. You already have an inherent bias because you come from an Xbox game, but the real point is, I just wish PlayStation would care a little bit more about their IPs.
I mean, who really cares about this anyways? It is just a Halo clone. It doesn't hold a pube to my glorious Master Chief.
Well, we all know what she went off to do. It rhymes with schmasturbating. I would disagree with Cortana on the main fact that I don't really feel this is 100% a Halo clone. When I went into the game, I definitely thought it was going to be a Halo clone, but it's much more of an amalgamation of a bunch of different shit. One thing before I get too deep into the story and the lore and what the hell's going on here, I want to kind of talk about like when every mission starts, how it just kind of like puts you in this cutscene where your guy's walking, never in like a straight line or any discernible direction. He just kind of looks all over the place. They're the most pointless cutscenes ever put in a video game, and every single level starts with them. Sometimes he's just looking at the ceiling like you're AFKing in the fucking game. And I ask what the hell's going on here and why they put it in the game, but then I remember it's from Insomniac, and I played their Spider-Man and Sunset Overdrive, so I know that sometimes they just be putting stupid shit in a game for absolutely no reason. You want to go catch some pigeons? Well, play Spider-Man. Now I got you thinking, wow, he's already comparing it to Spider-Man and Sunset Overdrive? Yeah, I am, kind of, except for this game doesn't suck like those games do.
Ew, ow, squiggly wiggly, what a hot take.
Hey there, little child. I know it's gonna be alright. You have a stuffed My Little Pony doll somewhere you can cry into. It's not everybody has to like the same games you do. Well, let's swing back on track. You see what I did there? I made a Spider-Man reference. Nah, didn't laugh? Well, your mom laughed after I was fucking her last night. Anyway, this is Insomniac's first entry in their only FPS franchise.
Well, actually, King Jiffy, they made a game called Disruptor, which was an FPS game in 1996.
Yeah, I said franchise, you fucking moron. Why do you guys always have to be correcting me on all sorts of shit? Anyway, back to their last franchise that was an FPS game. This is Fall of Mankind Resistance. It's definitely interesting. I will say it's interesting, almost left me at kind of a loss for words for where to place this game and how really to describe it. But don't worry, I'm pulling my bootstraps on and we're going to get into it. Now, the whole story kind of takes place in the 1940s. You're thinking, oh, Hitler and the Nazis and stuff? No, it has nothing to do with that. I guess they just never decided to not like the Jewish people because aliens invaded. I don't know what's going on with Hitler. I don't know what's going on with Germany. But should be around the time that we should be fighting him, but we're just not doing that because there's an alien invasion. And though they look kind of similar to something you would see in Halo, even though they're yellow because of the piss filter, and they feel kind of like something you'd see in Halo, I do think they have a good amount of diversity and enough intrigue to keep you locked in the experience. I also like the way that they really kind of focused on the fact that these aliens have been in and out of our world for a very long time by these giant buildings that are just kind of coming out of the ground, kind of running on that similar lore path of something like a Serious Sam. I think this is where we're going to get into a ton of comparisons, because it kind of feels like Insomniac looked at every single FPS game at the market and said, I'm going to take a little bit of that, I'm going to take a little bit of that, ooh, that smells nice, I'm going to throw that in here, I'm going to slap some clit on the side, I'm going to go back to stealing from this, stealing from that, because this game is an amalgamation of just about everything. If you're wondering who the guy is on screen right now, that's the random British dude who kind of feels like you might be one of the Chimera, but doesn't feel like he needs to ask you about your alien aids. That's really why I'm not going to talk a ton about the story, because there's not a ton to the story here, and every character kind of feels incredibly one-dimensional. You have your main guy, Sergeant Hale. He just kind of is running through. He's the only surviving member of like 12,000 American Marines, because when your whole platoon got bit by a bunch of aliens and then got alien aids, except for you can like live with alien aids and all the rest of them just kind of died, which leaves you with the ever-important question why they didn't send the little creatures to go bite the British people, or maybe they just didn't want to bite the British people because they don't eat any food that tastes good. I don't know. I'm not like here to give you all the ins and outs. I just thought it was really weird that British people just aren't getting bit in this world. Also, it really doesn't matter that you can survive with alien aids, because it doesn't really do do much for you. It's not like it gives you like superpowers like in the game Area 51. It just kind of pops up and he has some PTSD from it from every now and then. I might be completely wrong. It might have had like an in-game reason. I just can't for the life of me remember anything about why it's important that he got bit by this thing for the story. The only other character that's really important is the narrator. It's some British chick. She kind of pops in and out of the story. She talks to Hale from time to time. Really doesn't do much other than be the narrator. It's not like anything in this game feels like it matters too much, especially with the scope of everything that's going on and the torment that's going on to the world. The only comparison I really have to this would be the first Gears of War, but at the same time, I feel like they did characters better in even the first Gears of War. Though I did not enjoy that game, I still thought the characters were really fun and interesting, especially with their back and forth dialogue. It's also funny that through each level, you're getting a point diagram map type thing like you would get in Call of Duty, where you're showing the different frontal assaults, and it feels kind of like a Call of Duty campaign. It's again where Insomniac's just grabbing shit and throwing it in their game. A lot of this game feels like it was supposed to be a Call of Duty clone, but they weren't willing to go full in on Call of Duty because Halo was the big guy in the market at the time, so they wanted it to feel still like Halo. So a lot of the movement and stuff kind of feels very Halo-like, and it feels like it wants to tell a story kind of like Halo and Call of Duty, but it doesn't really know how to, so it strips both of them down to their bare bones and just releases this story and this kind of plot progression. And that's not to say that the game doesn't try some new things. One thing they add in is a bunch of mines that you can't shoot when they're on the ground that pop up. There's 3 different types of them. There's a little laser one, there's like a AoE one, and then there's this one that shoots spikes. They all suck. They're the worst thing in the world. They kill you constantly. They don't add anything to the game. They're annoying as shit, and they almost made me quit the game on a couple of occasions. I fucking hate these mines more than anything else in any other FPS game I've ever played. Give me the fucking buggers back. Give me all the other bullshit that you can think of that's annoying in an FPS game over these fucking mines. These fucking mines are worse than taking your nutsack, shoving it into a cheese grater with your dick, and using it like a pocket pussy. To be honest, that's really the only thing in this entire game that I felt like I hadn't seen before or was something completely fresh and new, was the fact that there was mines everywhere and there was ways to avoid them. But the thing that kind of really gets an annoying taste in your mouth when you're playing this whole experience is because it can't pick a lane. I've already mentioned how it's trying to be Call of Duty and Halo. It's trying to do the ADS like Call of Duty. It's trying to do the shoot from the hip thing like Halo, but it's also trying to add in the multiple weapon selection thing that you would see in more of a id Tech 4 game, you know, like Quake 4 or Doom 3, those type of games. It's really trying to feel like those too, but I don't think it lands any of them well. It's got like the big open driving sections from Halo, but it's not like they were put in because they're part of the game. They were essential to the gameplay loop where you go from zone to zone and you feel like you're a part of this interconnected world. They're just kind of fucking there. So you're like, oh, this is a driving area. Oh, look how open it is. I'm gonna go drive around, but the driving kind of fucking sucks like you're playing an id Tech 4 game. And don't get me wrong, this isn't quite as bad as id Tech 4 driving. I think Quake 4 was a great example of how annoying driving can be in a video game. But the worst part about this is you're driving around with this guy in the back of the car, and he's shooting worse than the guys in Halo 1, and that game came out years before this. So you're driving around with kind of funky car controls while a dude can't fucking hit anything. It's almost better to just jump out of the car and shoot everything yourself, because at least the guns slap a whole lot of clit in this game. And that's something you will find very consistent throughout this video, is this game will get its ass saved time and time again by its moment-to-moment combat. I do have to say, though, the tank section wasn't terrible. The tank was a little bit slow for my liking, and it kind of felt like I was creeping through just a lake of jizz, you know, when you really keep jerking off into the same trash can and it starts filling slowly time after time after time till you get a half full bin of yellow sludge. No, that was just me. Alright, whatever. I do have to say that the tank was very, very slow, but the guns worked really well. The actual fucking shooting the tank was really, really fun. Watching things go boom. This whole section absolutely slapped the perfect amount of clit. I had so much fun every time they put me on the wheel of a tank. I really enjoyed this. I think it was actually well done, and it's something I can look back in retrospect and still think, wow, that was really good. And in the moment, even though I had my little gripes about the speed, I was still having fun. There was never a moment where I was like, ah, this is dull, annoying, and gay. The way I felt about Quake 4's driving. I felt like at the end of that game, I looked back at it and was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that again. It's one of the reasons why when I played my second time of Quake 4, all I could think about was how bad the vehicles were. And in this game, at least you had one of the 3 vehicles that functioned pretty freaking well. And I got some big moments. Now, this is where it jumps back to being Call of Duty, though, because instead of being those open areas like you'd see in Halo, it's back to being very corridor-based and very much like I'm playing a World War II Call of Duty game. Which puts me in this situation where I don't know if I should feel like I need a neck brace after playing this entire experience, because it seems like it wants to whip me back and forth all the fucking time, kind of like Will Smith's daughter. The last car section, though, is awful. This thing is annoying as shit to drive. It's slow, it's clunky, the gun doesn't fire fast enough. It's one of those alien giant crab things that kind of walk around and shoot at you while you're playing the regular game. Now, I was really hyped to drive this thing, considering the first time you fight one, you're on foot as a dude and you get your ass absolutely pushed in like you're in prison. But it seems like the first time you get to use it, it's not very fun because there's all these bullshit mines and turrets everywhere that just kill you over and over, and you'll get to really play with it in the sandbox. And the second time you get to use it, it's just in a boss fight. Now, the boss fight is really good. Even with me having the gripes I do with how this thing controls, it seems like they really thought the arena out to make sure that this boss fight was incredibly engaging from start to finish. They have pillars in the middle, you're moving around the pillars at a kind of a slow pace, but the big robot that's shooting at you is a bit slower. You're constantly bobbing and weaving these giant missiles and shooting through what your ammo you have until you run out, and then you retreat back to cover. It's a really, really fun boss fight. It was well done, well thought out. It's one of those things that it's where I look at this game and I'm kind of annoyed with some shit, and then the game does some shit that makes me actually right back in it and wanting to play more. This was one of those experiences, and I feel like I kind of went into this game expecting it to be really, really good, considering the overall thought process and talking around this game. Talk about it like it's some sort of masterpiece, and I want to say that there are moments where this game does feel like it's approaching something really, really good, and at the end of the day, I'm never going to call this game a bad game, even though I'm kind of just in the middle of the video right here, just kind of like talking. I just want people to know that I'm not just sitting here shitting on this game because I want to shit on it. I just want to get my kind of complaints out there in the open and really kind of say why I don't think this game is that much of a masterpiece. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. I think it is very, very fun, and a lot of the stuff that you're looking at in the later portions of the game are freaking awesome, because when you get into the later sections of the game, this game turns into an absolute badass masterclass in awesome atmosphere, awesome aesthetic. Everything looks cool. You're looking at these giant metal alien workings. It's fucking glorious. I'm talking about the good kind of glory, the type of glory you find between two stalls at your local train station. But before I get to the actual glaze session, which is the last part of this video, I do want to have my last couple gripes out there for the internet to see. One thing in particular is the health system. I really don't like it. It's really a worse version of what we got in Halo 1 and Halo Reach, where you have the 4 different health packs. They reload and regen health, kind of like the health regen that we're kind of seeing today, where it's just you have the 1 bar, it reloads, you're good to go, you keep playing. This is really something that was reminiscent of Days Gone, where Halo was kind of looking at, ooh, we could put in health regen, but we still want to have health around because we want it to feel like the other games that are popular of this time, so they just kind of did it, and then they ended up scrapping it by Halo 2. This game's like, no, we liked that idea, we're going to go back to it, and it just doesn't feel great. Considering the only time you actually give a shit about that health bar is when you're down to 1 bar, and you're constantly letting that regen back, it just feels like a bad system, and I always felt like I was spending a lot of time looking for the health and then waiting for my health to regen, which I don't mind doing one of those things, but when you put both in my fucking game, it gets really fucking irritating. This last gripe is something I've already said in the past, but I'm going to say one more time just to really, really set the mood. I really wish they would have just picked a lane and fucking drove it, because it seems like you should be running and gunning with your weapon wheel like you should be doing in like Doom or Quake, but you're not doing that. It's slower, so you're thinking, oh, well then it's going to be more like a Halo. No, we're going to do a cover system, so it's more like a Call of Duty. We want to be a little bit slower than Halo, because remember, boys and girls, Call of Duty wasn't very fast-paced until after Call of Duty 4. What this game doesn't understand is when you're playing a Call of Duty-like game, you have to have good ADSing, and this game doesn't have good ADSing. It has lock-on ADSing that feels really weird when you try to unlock from ADSing. It takes a bit of time. It's not instantaneously. It's just a little bit off. It almost feels like everything is a little bit off to try to be a Call of Duty-like. When you crouch, it's wanting to be like Halo's crouch, where it's just like you crouch for a second to get under things, but it wants you to actually utilize the crouch to hide behind cover, because shit will kill you really fast in this fucking game, like Call of Duty. When you have this myriad of contradicting bullshit throughout your entire experiences, there's going to be a little bit here and a little bit there that is just fucking retarded and not quite right enough, because they didn't take a lane and focus on it. I think if they wanted to make a Halo-like game and they really put the focus behind that, they could have probably had the best Halo killer of the time. And I haven't played Killzone 1, so I can't tell you if this is at the top of the list of Halo killers, but I have to say that I feel like I played some other Halo killers, like Republic Commandos, which just seemed to understand what they wanted to do a little bit better. They said, we're going to make a game like Halo, but we're going to add in a lot of team functionality where you're commanding people around the zones, and it feels like just Halo with some extra steps, and it's good. But this game doesn't seem to understand that it's like, oh, we're going to kill Halo by doing Call of Duty Duty's thing and also Quake's thing, but we're not actually going to perfect any of it. It's all going to be okay. Now you're thinking that you just said earlier that this is a game that you actually enjoyed, that you were going to glaze later, and here I am. My cock's out, I'm stroking, and I am spewing right onto it. The guns in this fucking game are immaculate. Almost every single gun is fun to play with. There is not a single gun that doesn't have its place, doesn't have its use. There's not a single grenade that isn't fun to utilize. You have 3 different grenade styles. One's a fire grenade, one's a spike grenade, one's a grenade. On top of that, there's not a single weapon that feels underpowered in this arsenal. It seems like every single weapon has its moment, it has its use, and they fucking kick ass. This is something they excelled the fuck out of. Yeah, there's little mechanics here and there with the overall gameplay because they couldn't pick a fucking style, but what they could do is make some fucking awesome guns. I thought the grenade gun was going to be a little shitty because you're just kind of spewing poop everywhere. It's kind of like the poop gun from Postal 3, but it fucking kicks ass. You can lay the entire arena out with these poop balls and have enemies run toward their own imminent demise, baby. They come in and they get blown the fuck up with that shit gun. They're just covered in a bukkake of poopola, and it's glorious. I really enjoyed every single second. I like that you can just like set the game up to work in your favor because the arsenal is so fucking amazing. And even the gun that I thought was going to be my least favorite, the sniper, I felt like it was a little underpowered. Once I learned how to utilize it by holding my breath and getting that slow motion mode, it became one of the most overpowered weapons in my arsenal because you can slow motion and I can pop heads like I'm popping pussy at my local orgy. And I mean, you can go through a list on every single gun with every single enemy type and where it has its use and how good it is. The rocket launcher for the bigger enemies really takes them down a peg because it's a badass rocket launcher. Now, is it as good as like Halo's rocket launcher with the 4 quad barrel thing? No, but it is still a very good rocket launcher. It does its job at the end of the day. There's also this machine gun that's a minigun that fires like a gajillion rounds at one time. Every single well-designed gun makes my fucking nipples so hard I want to tie them together and jump rope with those bastards. Like, I don't have a single twisted asshole hair about any of these guns. I think that maybe there could be improvements if I really wanted to stretch shit. If I really wanted to be a whiny bitch, I could come up with some reasons why maybe one of the guns could be better. And it's this one alien rifle that could shoot through walls. I feel like it could have used a scope. That's it. That's the only gripe I have, is it could have used a scope. I think that it would have been even cooler if it had a scope, but I think it would have also broken the fucking gun because they would have put a heat sensing scope on it. I know how these people think, and you would have shot everybody behind every wall always and would have made the game a fucking sleepwalk. So they kept it without a scope, so you really had to think about what shots you were going to place. Every gun, every fucking gun, the alien machine gun's awesome. You can plant things with a goddamn spike and bullets will follow right into that bitch. The main machine gun is way better than Halo's starting machine gun. Even though it feels incredibly similar, it does way better damage when you're actually shooting at shit. You can shoot shit from a distance and know your bullets are going to be landing right in that dude's little fucking penis. And the way this game ramps up toward the end, where you're actually using all these different tools the way they're meant to be used and constantly swapping all these wonderful, immaculate weapons, you can't ask for a better ending push in a game because they gave you the tools to do it fucking right, baby. And I mean, you can't just have guns be good and have the game be good. You have to have good level design, and this game has pretty good level design. Does it have contradicting styles? Sure, but that doesn't mean it ruins the game. I think it takes a little bit from everything, but it does still do it in a very good way where you're having fun throughout the entire experience. Yes, a lot of the enemies feel very similar to Quake or Halo, but they feel good to shoot, they look cool to shoot at, and that's all you fucking need to do a game right. You need something that's fun to kill and looks cool to kill, and this game did it fucking right. Now, is this a 10 out of 10? I would recommend this over any other game ever. If I'm talking to somebody and they said, what's the one FPS game you would tell for somebody to play right now? It's not going to be Resistance Fall of Man. That's for damn sure. I'm not going to be fucking saying, yeah, dude, this is the expectations you should have for all FPS games. Fuck no, dude, because then they're just going to look at every FPS game and think, wow, dude, that guy's taste is fucking awful. But I have to say that this should be up there as a game that's solid. This is a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Probably closer to the 8 out of 10 mark because I think that it does what it does right for the most part. It drops a couple points because it's a little funky here and there. It can't pick a fucking lane and drive in that lane, but what it gives you is a very fun time. And even where I had my gripes with the story, I think it wraps itself up in a nice little bow. I think that way it works, that it's like, oh, you took down this one tower and you think, oh, this is going to be the end of the game. It's like, no, you got one more tower. A tower showed up in London. We have to go save London. And you make this final push push, you blow the whole fucking thing up. It's a masterclass explosion. You're flying out of there like a fucking bat in the wind. Nobody knows if you're alive or dead. Hell, the player doesn't even fucking know. It just fades to that British narrator bitch who's over here like, I guess we'd never know what happened to Sergeant Hale. I'm gonna fly away in the sunset. And you're like, fuck, maybe he did die. Maybe this is the end. Maybe we will never see Sergeant Hale again, even though you can Google this fucking game and see it has 2 other entries, so you know he's gonna make it out of this bitch. Come on, we're not retarded. Come on, guys. I know we have some brain cells we can rub together, create some fire, create some fiction, and make some babies, so you know that this isn't an end for this old jabroni. Because I guess this dude has some mad fucking Lamborghinis, and he was flashing his ass all the way through that fucking explosion. He was straight up running so hard, his balls were exposed. He was getting fucking rug burn just from the air. I guess that's air burn. Leaving him in the woods where another helicopter shows up and they all arrest him, and you're like, oh damn, look like he did survive. It was kind of funny to see an MCU type cutscene in a game from 2006, especially when the story didn't prioritize the story that hard. It just kind of did the story, and when you get to the end, it's like, oh, here's all this story stuff. That British guy that you liked, well, he's dead. Even though his death really didn't affect you because he was such a one-dimensional character, it still was like, ah, darn, way to die, bro. And then you're looking at Hale here, who decides to go with these guys, leaving you on a cliffhanger, and I want to play the second game. I'm leaving this game wanting more, and that's all a game should do. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It doesn't have to be the best game that's ever made. It doesn't have to be a Halo killer. It just has to be good enough for me to want to play the sequel, and that's exactly what this game accomplished, and I can't wait to play the sequel. Now, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe so I keep on doing this, baby. I want to hit a gajillion followers and be swimming in fucking money. I'll catch you on the next one.